Snowflake mandala. So what you're gonna need besides your kit is you're gonna need some water, a paper towel, and a pencil and a ruler for later on. But our first step is we are going to paint this block. Now you could pick any color. I'm gonna choose white so it's easier for you to see in the long run, but you could choose any color. And you're just gonna put 2 nice coats of whatever color you want on your block, including the edges. Once I have the 2 coats done, we have to let this completely dry. So while you're letting it dry, what you could do is you could make different shades of your colors that you have. These will probably need like 3 additional colors. Well, 3 colors besides your white. So I'm just gonna take a little white, mix some purple in it and get like a light purple. And you could just do this on the caps of your paint, or you could do it on a plate of a paper plate if you have one. I'm going to take a little of that color of white and I'm just going to make a light blue. So you just want like choices. So I have a light blue, a darker blue, the purple, and then a super light purple. So I'm gonna let this completely dry. When we come back, you're gonna need a pencil and a ruler. So my board is completely dry. And for our next step, you're gonna have to find the middle of the board. So the board is 8 by 8. So I'm just gonna kind of make one. So I'm just marking off wherever 4 is. And I'm going to very lightly draw a line that divides my board in half. Really light because we would like to erase these lines eventually, but if you can't, that's okay. And I'm going to flip my board, do the same thing on this side. Four. So we found the middle. So basically it's divided into 4 shapes now, but we're gonna kind of pizza pie it and make sure it's an 8, like little triangles. So I'm just putting my ruler corner to corner. So these lines are gonna guide us as we make our mandala. So mandala is a geometric pattern based off of a circle. So a lot of times, like when I was in college, we had Buddhist monks come in and they made a mandala, and typically mandalas are made with sand, and then it takes them about a week because they're usually pretty big. Then when they're finished, they go to like the nearest, like we had a creek in the back, the nearest like flowing water, and they usually just dump the mandala or the sand into the water. It's just making a mandala for them is a form of meditation. So we'll look at it like that too. And then you have a paintbrush and you have a dabber. This is typically used for stencils, but we're going to use it for a circle because this is going to be a circle and the handle is going to be a circle. And our small circle is going to be, our small dots are going to be made using the back of our paintbrush. So basically, I'm just going to start by, I'm going to pick one color. I'm going to pick the darker blue. Make sure that's all covered. I'm going to make my brush do double time. And then I am just going to put a dot right in the middle. So we're just going to be making a design around that dot now. You could use your brush if you want to fill it in a little bit, but you don't have to be that crazy. Now I'm going to use the back of the paintbrush, the back of the dabber. I'm going to dab in my light blue, and I'm going to make a couple, using those lines, on each of those lines, I'm going to make a light blue circle. All right, so now we're gonna work out. Next step, I am going to use my big circle again. So I don't like to use the dabbers in the water because I feel like they absorb too much water. So I'll just use a paper towel and try and get as much off as you can. Because next what I'll do, I'll actually use the back again. I am going to go for one of the purples. And once again, on those lines, I'm going to start making my dots. So now in between those purple dots, I am going to take the back of my paintbrush and I'm just going to put a small dot in between each one. So it's basically making a pattern in those 8 different sections. We're gonna have ours try and end up looking like a snowflake. So for my next one, I'll use my bigger, and I'll use my light blue. And I'm just going to sponge. Let me change it up. I'm gonna sponge in the middle of each like little section. If you don't get a complete circle, what I do sometimes, I put it down and just twirl it. All right, so in between those now, I am going to use my small brush, my small end of the dabber, and use that light purple, and I'm going to just make light purple dots. All right, so I have my basic shape going. And now what I'm gonna do, because I want it to look like a snowflake, I'm only gonna add, I'm not gonna put anything in the middle, I'm only gonna add things along my pencil lines. So I'm gonna start by making some more dots. You know what, I think I'm gonna go back to dark blue. You can get like fun with it. You could do whatever design you'd like. And I'm only gonna do on my pencil lines now. Next, I'll use the back of my brush. I'll do my darker purple. Next, I'm going to take my paintbrush because I'm kind of getting near the ends. So I'm going to just add with light blue. I'm just going to add a little light blue dot. I'm going to do 2 in a row that are almost touching, pretty much touching. I did my background in white primarily so you could kind of see all my lines and stuff, but this looks great if you do your background in like blue and all your dots are like white because it looks like a snowflake. Okay, so I have my basic shape of my snowflake, so now I'm gonna actually go back with my paintbrush, and I'm just gonna add little dots in places. Like I'm gonna add a little blue dot between my 2 purple dots. Just what you do in one section or one line, you should do in all the lines. I'm trying to make a pattern here. I'm gonna wipe off the back of my brush. And between my big blue and my little purple, I'm gonna use some light purple, put a light blue dot. Oops, I put it in the wrong place in that one. I'm gonna have to go back and do that to all the ones. So you could kind of see how this is kind of like a meditative process. Anything that you have patterns, it's relaxing. I'm gonna wipe off my brush again. You could even go back. I'm gonna add some white dots, but I'm gonna add them inside some of my circles. So let me pick a circle. Let's try the purples. Just gonna put like a little dot inside. So you could keep on adding and adding. The more dots it has, I think the better it looks sometimes. Light purple, and I'm gonna put it Alright, so I think mine is good for right now. I'm gonna let this dry, and then when it's dry you can hang it up or do something with it. When it's dry you could also erase your pencil lines if you want. You don't have to, but you could keep on adding dots. The more dots the better, I think, sometimes, so go for it. But I hope you guys had fun making this little mandala.